What will happen when a 5-year-old girl goes to the market with her mother and sees a weak dog chained by a man? Her heart aches and she wants to help the poor dog, but she doesn't know that her small act of kindness will bring her a big reward. Once upon a time, in a small town, there was a bright Saturday morning that buzzed with excitement. 5-year-old Emily wandered through the local market with her parents, Sabrina and William. The market was full of life, with colorful stalls, the smell of delicious food, and the sound of happy voices all around. Emily loved visiting the market. It was always an adventure. As they strolled along, something unusual caught Emily's eye. In a quiet corner of the market, tied to a post, was a big German shepherd dog. His fur was tangled, his body looked weak, and his sad eyes made Emily's heart ache. She felt a strong pull to help him. With concern in her voice, Emily tugged on her mother's hand and pointed at the dog. "Look at that poor dog. Can we help him?" she asked. Sabrina sighed softly, knowing her daughter had a big heart for animals. She nodded, allowing Emily to get a little closer, but reminded her to be careful. As they approached the dog, Emily knelt down a few feet away and spoke softly. "Hi there, buddy." She reached out her hand slowly, hoping to comfort him. The dog sniffed the air, his ears perking up slightly. Emily felt encouraged by his response and moved a little closer. She noticed just how sad he looked, and she gently assured him, "I'm here to help you." Sabrina watched closely, knowing that Emily had a special bond with animals, but also worried that this dog might be scared or rough. She reminded Emily to be cautious since the dog seemed nervous. Emily nodded, keeping her focus on the dog, her heart set on helping him. Nearby, a vendor served customers, ignoring the sad creature tied to the post. Emily walked over and asked the vendor, "Does this dog belong to you?" The vendor glanced at her and confirmed it, but waved her off, saying, "That dog is no good. Nobody wants him." Undeterred, Emily asked, "Can I pet him?" The vendor shrugged, saying, "Do what you want. He's just taking up space." But Sabrina interrupted, saying they should first ask her father, William. Emily agreed, determined to show kindness to the dog. Returning to the dog, she slowly reached out, her tiny hand gently brushing his fur. To her surprise, the dog didn't flinch or pull away. Instead, he leaned into her touch, and his tail wagged a little. Emily's face lit up with a bright smile, feeling a special bond starting to grow between them. Over the next few weeks, Emily and her parents visited the market often. Each time, Emily spent more and more time with the dog, whom she decided to name Apollo. With every visit, Apollo seemed to recognize her. His eyes sparkled with joy when he saw her, and his tail wagged faster as she got closer. Each gentle pat and soft word made him lean into her even more. Sabrina and William watched how much their daughter loved Apollo. They began talking about whether they should bring the dog home with them. Apollo needed a lot of care. His health wasn't good, and he seemed nervous around adults. But they couldn't ignore Emily's strong desire to help him find a loving home. Finally, after much discussion, Sabrina and William approached the vendor with an offer to take Apollo home. The man was more than happy to get rid of what he called a useless dog. Emily was overjoyed when they agreed. As she unchained Apollo, she whispered to him, "You're coming home with us." The drive home was filled with excitement. Emily sat beside Apollo, gently stroking his fur as he rested his head in her lap. She felt a wave of happiness, knowing she had rescued him from a lonely life. Once they arrived home, the family quickly realized that Apollo had been through a lot. His past life had been hard, and it showed in how he acted. He flinched at sudden movements, shied away from loud sounds, and often cowered when Sabrina or William tried to get close. But Emily stayed by his side every moment she could. She talked to him, read to him, and showed him nothing but love and patience, helping him feel safe in his new home. Slowly but surely, Apollo began to trust her. He started following Emily around the house, resting his head on her lap whenever she sat down. However, his behavior was still unpredictable, so the family decided to seek help. They reached out to Dr. Taylor, a local animal behaviorist who specialized in helping traumatized dogs. During her first visit, Dr. Taylor explained that Apollo had been through a lot. She told them that he needed time, patience, and a stable routine. With the right care, he could improve. The family listened closely and followed her advice, using positive reinforcement to help Apollo feel safe. Progress was slow, but there were good days. Sometimes, Apollo played fetch with Emily, wagging his tail happily. Other times, if he felt scared, he would growl or snap. One sunny afternoon, while playing in the backyard, something wonderful happened. Apollo picked up a ball and brought it to Emily, wagging his tail with excitement. For the first time, he had started the game himself. Emily's heart soared with joy as she threw the ball, and he raced after it, barking happily. Weeks passed, and the family noticed that Apollo was getting better. Emily's love and patience were helping him heal from his past. But the journey wasn't always easy. One sunny afternoon, while Emily played with Apollo in the yard, a loud noise startled the neighbor's cat. The cat dashed across the yard, and Apollo, filled with excitement, took off after it, barking loudly. Emily ran after him, her little legs struggling to keep up. In her worry, she didn't see a car racing down the street. Sabrina and William, watching from the porch, shouted in fear as the car approached. Just when it seemed too late, Apollo turned back and raced toward Emily. In an instant, he leaped, pushing her out of the car's path. The car screeched to a halt just inches away. Sabrina and William rushed over, their hearts racing with worry. Emily was shaken but unharmed. Apollo stood protectively over her, his eyes filled with concern. He nuzzled her gently, as if to say he would always look out for her. That day, Apollo became a true member of the family. He was no longer just a rescue dog. He was a hero. His brave actions showed Sabrina and William how deep his loyalty really was. From that moment on, Apollo was more than a pet. He was loved like family. One sunny afternoon, while taking a walk in the park, Emily and Apollo spotted a familiar face, the vendor from the market who had kept Apollo chained. When the man saw them, he sneered and made a cold comment about where Apollo had ended up. Emily's heart raced, but she gripped Apollo's leash tightly. She told the man that Apollo was her dog now and couldn't be taken back. The vendor glared at her, muttering that Apollo had been his dog first. But Emily stood her ground, insisting that the dog deserved better and that he hadn't cared for Apollo at all. Apollo sensed Emily's fear and stood protectively in front of her, growling softly. The vendor's cold stare made Emily's heart race, but Apollo's presence calmed her. Finally, the man turned and walked away, leaving Emily shaken but safe. She quickly told her parents what happened, and they comforted her, assuring her that Apollo was theirs now and that no one could take him away. As the months went by, Apollo grew stronger and more confident. One Saturday, the family decided to enter a local dog show. It was a fun event for dogs and their owners, and Emily was thrilled to show everyone how far Apollo had come. At the show, Apollo amazed everyone with his skills. He raced through obstacle courses, jumped over hurdles, and followed commands perfectly. The judges were impressed by his talent, and the crowd cheered loudly for him. When Apollo won first place, Emily's heart swelled with pride. She had always known he was special, and now everyone else could see it too. The journey to heal Apollo had not been easy, but Emily and her family knew it was worth it. They had rescued a scared dog, and in return, he had filled their lives with love and joy. From that day on, Apollo was not just a pet, he was Emily's best friend. So, what are your thoughts about this heart-touching story? Share your opinions in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on our new animal stories. Your support means the world to us.